Greetings and thank you for tuning in to My Journey with Paula G. We'd like to thank our underwriters, my coffee shop at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, Pastor Time International Bible College with Dr. Paul and Marcia Kelly, Dupsy African Clothing, 2289 South Cobb Drive in Smyrna, Georgia, Survival Radio and Clicks Photography with Clark Garrison, and Lusu Apparel with Brandon Sampson, and Positive Power Double XI Christian Media with Jerry Was Live Worldwide Ministries. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation.
Hey family, I'm Paula G. This is My Journey, and you are watching Music Vision Television.
Cut.
Hi, my name is Katrina Shaw, and I'm the co-author of the best-selling author of Women Who Soar. Women Who Soar is a book collaboration of 7 women, 7 stories, who stepped out on faith, launched their own businesses, and saw their dreams and destinies into the world. My chapter is Unshakable Faith, and I share how I overcome difficult challenges as a breast cancer survivor, and I tell you it has not been easy. I dealt with my mom dealing with dementia and dying slowly over the years. But the key is how I responded when our health was failing quickly. We all handle trials and tribulations and grief in different ways, but the true test of faith is how we handle it when it comes.
For more information about Katrina Shaw, go to www.wws-unshakablefaith.com. Katrina Shaw is an underwriter for My Journey with Paula G.
Tyrone.
What?
Look at these bills.
Man. Woman, what you want?
Tyrone, we need to pay these bills.
I'm not paying these bills.
You need to pay these bills.
I'm not paying these bills. You can pay these bills yourself and clean these papers up.
He's done great things. Yes, he has. God's done the great Hello, my name is Edward Blankenship from Blytheville, Arkansas, and you're watching My Journey with Paula G.
Welcome to My Journey with Paula G, where men and women share their journey of using the gift that God has given them as they travel on this journey we call life. And my prayer is that each and every one of you will be moved by something you see or something you hear that will encourage you to continue your journey of using the gift that God has placed inside of you. Miles Monroe has said, the richest place on the planet is the cemetery, because so many of us go to our graves having not utilized our gifts. So I challenge you to begin today, if you have not already, to begin today to use the gifts that God has placed inside of you. As long as you wake up every morning, as long as you're blinking and breathing, you have an opportunity to use your gift. You know, George Eliot, because you know I love quotes, George Eliot has said, it is never too late to be what you might have been. I challenge you today to begin to walk in your might have been. And I also want to thank each and every one of you that have been so supportive on this journey and have stayed connected and continue to stay connected by sharing your words of wisdom, sharing your poems, sharing your scriptures and verses with me so that I may share, in turn, share them with an audience. And today, I have a special poem today, and this one comes to us from Edith Hines, who is affectionately known as Mother Hines. She is, and we believe, we're not quite sure, but she may be the oldest Gold Star mom. And she's written a book of poems here, and she has shared a poem with us, and I'd like to share it with you. And it is entitled, God's Poetry. God is a poet in me, blinded my eyes, yet I see. Oh, but let God use me so he can be the perfect poet in me. Oh, my God, be the perfect poet in me, so the blinded eyes may see the perfect God in me. God is in each and every one of us that has committed our lives to Christ, and every one of us that has walked in what it is that he has called us to do. There is a God in each and every one of us. And indeed, my guest today is no exception, because she is here to share her journey of utilizing all of the gifts that God has given her and how she utilizes those gifts. And she might have some tips for us today, too. So please welcome to My Journey with Paula G, Zenobia. How are you, my sister?
I'm wonderful.
Looking
Thank you for
absolutely
having
wonderful
me here.
today. Just, I need to take some notes.
Thank you.
Take some notes here. You're looking absolutely gorgeous today. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Now, I understand you are a woman that has a lot going on. You are a playwright. You are a producer.
Yes.
You are a director. You're an actress, and also you're a professional makeup artist.
I am.
Okay, so you can give us some tips today.
Sure.
Give us some tips today. So share with us your journey and how all of this came about. Like, what came first or what came second? Did they come simultaneously? So just share with us your journey and how you got involved in all of these different areas.
Well, I started out doing makeup professionally over 20 years ago. I've done a lot of commercials, music videos, stage plays, and I've always wanted to act. So I kind of sort of transitioned myself from being a professional makeup artist to writing stage plays, producing them, and now acting in it.
Oh, wow. So you started as a makeup artist, and in the process of being a makeup artist and being exposed to actors and producers and kind of observing what's going on. And, you know, a lot of times it's about position. Isn't it about position sometimes?
That's true.
You have a vision and you're starting in one area, you're focused in that area, but in the process you start observing other things and like, oh,
I want to do that.
oh, that looks interesting. I think I may want to dabble in that. And then you find yourself moving in these different directions. So, well, let's start with the makeup artist. So you started your career as a makeup artist. How did that come about? How did that? How did
Ever
the door
since I
open?
was a little girl, I snuck and used my mother's cosmetics, and
We all did that.
yeah,
Some of us got in trouble. For sure.
I
Red
did too.
lipstick and
With the blush and everything, getting it all over the chairs
oh yes,
and
and
everything.
all over yourself, you know. And then you try to say, "I didn't do it," and it's all over your face.
Exactly. So I've been doing that, and then I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
my God.
okay. That's okay. Because you know, I think sometimes when we've got so many, and it speaks to the gifts. You know, when you've got so many gifts inside of you, and you've got all this kind of swirling around, sometimes it just kind of all jumbles together.
Oh yeah, and that's my mind daily because I'm a writer, so
Yes.
I'm constantly thinking of scripts
Yes.
of stories. So
that
you know,
that speaks
sometimes
to
I
that
gotta slow the mind down.
because that speaks to that creative mind. The wheels
yeah.
are constantly turning. You might be talking about something, but the wheels are constantly turning. So we get that. That's the creative juices flowing.
Yeah. Sometimes I need to turn it off though.
But you started as a little girl. You kind of were dabbling in mama's makeup, like
Mama's
we all,
makeup,
like we
and
all
then
do.
I started watching the movies and watching movies I wasn't supposed to watch with monsters, and start creating different prosthetics. And I just grew up, you know, wanting to learn how to do those things. So I eventually went to school and received my license, and I just transitioned over to that, where I was doing, you know, a lot of theatrical with the prosthetics and making people faces
So
look
this
bruised
is
and
deep.
everything.
We're not
So,
just talking
yeah.
about eyeshadow and lipstick, and so we're talking about the transformation of characters and so. Oh
Yes,
wow!
yes.
That's art within itself.
It is.
Because don't you have to create, like if you're to have certain, I don't know, monsters
Different
or whatever,
looks.
you different looks.
Yes.
What goes into creating?
Well, it depends. When I was doing the theatrical plays, I had a producer say, well, can you make it look like a person just fell on their face and got bruised? So I would go in and I would actually look at real pictures of people being bruised. And I'm the type of person I can draw. So I would kind of sort of use my children and, you know, draw different, you know, looks on their face, and then, you know, bruises and everything. And then I take a picture and say, is this the look that you want? So that's how, you know,
I bet they
basically
love
started.
that. I bet the kids love that.
Well, sometimes
Sometimes.
it became a pattern where I was calling them out of their time for, you know, playing and everything. Like, come on, I got an idea. Yes. Yeah, so, yeah, sometimes. So,
Yes. Well, that is so amazing. And, you know, we're going to continue this conversation, but I'm so glad that you shared, you know, when you know, Zenobia is an example. When you start using all of these different gifts and all of these doors start opening for you, it becomes an amazing journey. And she's going to stay with us and continue the journey of sharing her gifts with us. And, you know, like I always said, it begins in the mind. Greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. That's an important conversation because that's where the journey starts. What are you speaking to yourself? And is God a part of that conversation? What is your I am? You have to be able to finish that sentence. What is your I am? My I am is I am a radio host. What is your I am? So begin that conversation. When we come back, we will continue our journey with Zenobia and her sharing the gifts that she has.
This moment of trust, can't imagine what it'd be like if you were not here with me. Stormy weather through the dark clouds, it's raining your happiness and peace and joy, like a virgin. Your pureness is clear. joy, can't explain it. My whole heart is overjoyed by your love. Now I have passion in my soul. I have passion in my soul. And I just wanna say thank you. Your ray of light on the morning dew, shining so bright, it's a good day. You make it easy to say I have hope, I'm alive, I have peace. Deep inside, no one can take that away. So I live, yet to see another day. Yet to see another day. And I just wanna say thank you, thank you. And I just wanna say thank you, thank you. I have hope, I'm alive, I have peace. Deep inside, no one can take that away. So I live, yet to see another day. Yet to see another day.
Welcome back to My Journey with Paula G, and we're here with today's guest, Zenobia, and she's sharing her journey where she started as a professional makeup artist, and we're not just talking eyeshadow and lipstick, we're talking makeup artists for theater and where you make the masks for the different characters and all that sort of thing. So a lot of creativity went into that. She shared a little bit of her artistry and how she kind of got her children involved, and sometimes they weren't exactly feeling it. It has helped her along her journey, and while she was on the journey of being a makeup artist, she also discovered that she liked writing. She's a playwright now, producing. She enjoyed being an actress, so she's here today to share with us how she just kind of marries that all together as she continues this journey through life. So we were talking earlier about the makeup artist and how it opened the doors to the other areas. So what was the first one that it opened after? What was the first thing you saw? Was it acting? Was it playwriting?
It was actually writing.
Writing. Okay.
Okay. Writing at first. I actually didn't realize that I was a writer until I moved to Ohio and went there to open up a makeup artistry school to teach makeup and women etiquette. So when I got the paperwork and everything for the business, I was going through a divorce, and I found out I had to bring my kids back down to Maryland because of Maryland law stating that the kids, Maryland has jurisdiction over the kids, so they had to come back here with the father. And I went into depression and, that I hate life type of situation.
That's a journey right there.
So I just studied and read. And I just started coming up with stories because I wanted to share my testimony. And I came up with this play called Taking It Back. So I wrote a play, and I'm like, well, where did this come from? And I came back to Maryland, and I tried to reach out to many people who didn't know anything about producing. And I thought about it. I said, wait a minute, I've been in so many plays, and I saw what goes on behind the scenes. So I just got some people together, built a team, and just wound up producing my play.
I
So
love
that's
what you
how I
said.
transitioned from,
Into-
and I never knew that I would be a playwright,
And
ever.
I love you saying that because a lot of times, a lot of times we have these gifts and we don't realize. Some of them are blatant, some of them are there, some of them are transparent, and we know. But a lot of times we have gifts that we don't even realize are within us until you start kind of walking it out, and you don't even realize you're walking it out. So you began writing this gift that you didn't realize was yours. You began writing, and then what door opened? for you?
Producing.
And then you started producing.
And then start doing editing for film because I had to. I was dealing with a low budget, and I couldn't. It was hard to find somebody that would be on that professional level to do what I need them to do, to shoot the trailer and everything.
It
So
all costs money.
yeah, it costs money. So what I did, I invest in a lot of equipment, and I prayed, and I said, okay, my favorite scripture, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And I prayed, and I said, okay, Holy Ghost, you gave me this gift. I need some help. And I got up one morning, and I started editing, and it blew my mind because I've never dealt with studio before, never been trained in a school, and
So we all
I
know
wound
that
up-
was
yeah.
the power of prayer. And
Yes.
it's so important on this journey, that power of prayer. Prayer and the power of prayer is
Yes.
so important on this journey as you are seeking your God-given gifts, because as you're praying, you're praying for God to open the doors, and when He begins to open the doors, then that's confirmation that you're moving in the right direction.
Exactly, and that's my testimony because I've never had any type of formal training to do that. So I became a producer. Then I did my own accounting. Never went to school for accounting, but it was just so ironic that so ironic that I had took this job, part-time job, and it was an accountant. So I was learning on the job how to do,
So He opened the door. for
exactly.
you. Look at that.
Yeah, so from that, from directing, then now I'm writing my first screenplay. So
That is
just
excellent.
everything, yeah.
So what are some, as you have been on this journey, we started with makeup artists and all these other doors open. As you have been on this journey, what are some words of advice let's start with the makeup artist. What are some words of advice that you can offer someone who may be listening, who may be watching, that is interested in makeup and maybe opening up their own?
I would say follow your dreams. You got to keep on, no matter how many no's you get, there's always one yes that God has. And keep pursuing it.
So no matter how many no's. Okay, so tell them that again. So
No matter how many no's, there's always one yes. But sometimes you got to go through 15 no's to get that yes. But you have to continue to press forward.
Yes, excellent. And then with what was the next door? The writing. What can you share as far as the writing is concerned? Even if it's something technical about the writing, is there anything that you can share with someone who is just starting out as far as writing is concerned, or what are some roadblocks? Or
I would say I would encourage everyone to, as a writer, you don't have to think you have to write professionally. School is always good, but you can use a piece of paper, a piece of index card, and just write down whatever your ideas, and always get somebody to just read over it just to make sure that everything is aligned the way it needs to be. But you don't have to go out there and buy a $50,000 program or anything like that. You can just start off with Microsoft Word, like I did.
Awesome.
So yeah,
and that's something that we all have, that everyone have. And then in the time we have left, the acting. What can you share with them?
Acting. Well. Continue to follow your dreams. That's another thing too. Sometimes you go to a lot of auditions. Sometimes you're not cast, but you gotta keep on, and don't give up.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. So what lies ahead for you?
Well,
Future project.
I do. I am currently doing 2 stage plays coming up, and. My business partner, Dr. Newsom, Fred Newsom, he and I, we're producing a stage play that's going to be January 2019.
All right.
And I am finished. I got to finish writing my screenplay, and I want hopefully shoot that sometime 2019 in the summer.
Wow,
So hopefully you will see me in the theater.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it right here. Prime example of what it looks like when you are walking in what it is that God has placed inside it. She started as a makeup artist. And then in the process, these other doors opened. And then along the way, doors opened for areas that she didn't even realize she was gifted in, and that it was something that she can do. So, as always, I continue to encourage you. This life is too short to let all of those things lie dormant. God has placed them inside of you for a reason. It's never too late, whether you're 20, 30, 40, or 60. It's never, ever too late to walk in your journey and to do what it is that God has called you to do. Because if you remember, the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place where? In between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? Are you listening to his still small voice? What is your I am? Until next time.
Good.
You gave me 1 minutes.
Greetings and thank you for tuning in to My Journey with Paula G. We'd like to thank our underwriters, my coffee shop at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, Pastor Time International Bible College with Dr. Paul and Marcia Kelly, Dubsy African Clothing, 2289 South Cobb Drive in Smyrna, Georgia, Survival Radio and Clicks Photography with Clark Garrison, and Lusu Apparel with Brandon Sampson, and Positive Power XXI Christian Media with Jerry Was Live Worldwide Ministries. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation.